S. D. Boyan.
This is the Doc and Bull Run with SilverDoctors.com. Today we're live with Megan Duffield, Marketing Manager of the Silver Circle movie. Megan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you guys very much.
We're excited to talk to you today and about the project. So I guess to start us off a little bit here, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired the creation of the Silver Circle movie?
Sure, absolutely. Well, Pasha Roberts, who is the director of the film and owner and manager of Line Plot Productions, the animation studio where Silver Circle is being created, he had been working on animation and 3D graphics for larger financial corporations to explain difficult economic situations. So he had to wear, all the equipment and whatnot to produce anything animated. And once Lehman Brothers crashed, he basically said to himself that he wanted to make a creative narrative about this to teach people about what was really going on. So from there, he started, building a team, and, here we are today, a couple years later, after conceptualizing the film, getting the script written, shooting the film in our studio, and now in the long process of animation, which takes quite a bit of time.
So Megan, we know Silver Circle is a film centered around a group of rebels joined together to take on the Fed, using silver as an underground currency. We've also heard rumors of car chases, explosions, mayhem, and an animated romance. We talk about silver all the time on SilverDoctors.com, but let's hear some of the juicy details of the film.
Well, sure. Well, the whole film is set in 2019 after a severe economic collapse. I mean, you look at 2007 and 2008 and you'll wish you were back there whenever you see the setting of 2019. The dollar is no longer the world's reserve currency. Prices are 20 times what they are today. And, basically the Federal Reserve has expanded in its power at this point in time. They've taken on the responsibility of housing, and they've created this Department of Housing Stability. There's also the Coin Act of 2016, which has passed, that many people might remember who lived back in the 70s or 80s, I think. When was the gold confiscation?
That was in the 1930s. In
the 30s was the confiscation. I was thinking when we went off the standard in 71. But the Coin Act of 2016 actually makes it illegal to possess, buy, or sell gold or silver. So in the movie, it all starts out, there's actually been an arson. Someone has set 11 houses on fire in a state that is owned by the Federal Reserve. So from there, an investigator digs in and finds out that it's actually something that has happened through the rebels.
We definitely can't wait to see it. One thing, just something I kind of heard, a rumor, is it true where you mentioned that prices, I think you have them at 20 times current prices. I heard something mention that your producers actually had to double the prices since you started filming.
Yeah, that happened. We had them only 10 times today's prices. And what do you know, that darn inflation just kept knocking at our door at the studio. And the movie's been delayed a bit just because of, things that happen in filmmaking, and it's pretty common. So we realized, all right, well, if we're coming out in 2012 now, we need to relate it a little bit better and really amp up the possibilities and ramp up the setting a little bit more and make it that much worse almost. Not to be so negative on the future, but I think we all know there's a doomsday somewhere ahead of us if the Federal Reserve is going to behave the way that it is now.
Sure. One thing I wanted to ask you about, I'm sure the Federal Reserve and other people aren't let's say, excited about your movie coming out. Have you guys experienced any sort of resistance from group or agency in regards to the production of your film?
It's been a mix. We're still, crossing our fingers that the door doesn't get busted down one, late night at 3 in the morning. However, we did track the Federal Reserve of Boston's IP on our analytics. This was probably a year and a half ago. It had something to do with something we had written about the Boston Fed, but it must have come up on their alerts and tracking, so they checked out. So they know what we're doing if they chose to pay any mind to it. Also, it's really funny whenever we visit comic conventions and just things that are unrelated to the precious metals and libertarian kind of community, because we go to comic book conventions and really connect with this mainstream pop culture crowd. And people will have contests where you can win prizes, and we have End the Fed shirts and End the Fed bumper stickers, and a bumper sticker that says central banking is evil. We sell silver and things like that. And sometimes people will win it and go, oh, my mom works for the Fed. I'll give this to her. And we're just, cracking up because there's these people who, they don't really understand it, but this is that opening moment where they get to learn a little bit about central banking and learn about what's going on with this monopolization of currency.
Yeah, Megan, since we're talking about the central bank, let's talk about February 29th. Bernanke was testifying in front of Ron Paul and the rest of the House Financial Services Committee. And Ron Paul gave Bernanke a lecture. Most of us will never forget about the preservation of value offered by silver. And he pulled out a silver circle round, if I remember correctly, to show Bernanke what real money looks like. Have you saw any publicity from this event and generate towards your film?
Absolutely, and I people who have asked, I literally almost fell out of my chair that day because we had no idea. This was not planned. This was, as far as we know, it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned on our behalf by any means. But we have seen a huge spike in silver sales, which, sometimes I never wanted to throw any support behind product or endorsements by celebrities. But gosh darn it, it works because we probably are, we're selling 10 times the amount of silver a day than we were before. So, and we're not in the silver business, so this is just awesome for us because it's a great promotional tool. We kind of like to call it our really expensive business card because people hold on to it. I mean, look at Ron Paul, for instance. I'm pretty sure if this is the case, I gave him that 1 ounce round at a Ludwig von Mises conference over a year ago. And people will throw away your business card, but they're not going to throw away an ounce of silver. That tells you about what you're promoting. So it's been a really great marketing tool for us. And at the same time, we're helping people out.
I think it would have to just continue to generate great publicity for your film. Those who have heard of it and quite a few who haven't, I'm sure they have now after watching Ron Paul pull it out and read about it.
It was a little misquoted in some of the articles, but we made sure to contact as many as possible. People were saying that it was an eagle, and I'm going, if anyone knows a darn thing, no offense, but people like Reason Magazine and Cato, I even think, misspoke. And I'm like, if you look at that picture, it's clearly not a silver eagle. Clearly.
Right. Well, I believe the film is currently scheduled to come out in the fall. Is that right? Tell us a little bit about when we should expect it.
Yeah, we are shooting for an August release date. We are hopefully going to have some film festival appearances. We're shooting for the Telluride Film Festival in Colorado, as well as the Toronto Film Festival, which are all happening towards the late summer in terms of deadline submissions. And then hopefully we can enter into those festivals later this year. But the theatrical run is our main goal, and what we're really trying to do is get out into about 17 cities across the country in theaters. And how we're going to go about doing that is by talking to people about sponsoring certain theaters where you can take your business or your name and help us get into the theater by sponsoring the theater and helping us out there. We're also going to do some crowdsourcing and try to see if there's a high demand. And
Film is finished.
Me personally?
Yes.
Well, I'd like to say we will be a hot success and we'll be moving on to a sequel.
Okay.
So aside from that, I don't know. Maybe I'll become like a Buddhist monk or something like that. The time, time will only tell.
I think Bull Run was kind of hoping for. We just launched gold and silver bullion sales on SilverDoctors, and I think he was looking for a little help in the marketing exposure.
We can talk. Don't tell Pasha. Pasha, if you're listening.
All right.
Thanks again, Megan.
Yeah, it's great having you, Megan. We really look forward to seeing the film, and we really love what you're doing. And I think it's just a great opportunity to really bring some exposure to really the mainstream and general public about economics, about the Fed. I know Megan, you're a big Ron Paul supporter, and I believe you're an activist in the End the Fed movement. So I just think this is a great opportunity to kind of bring some of the things we talk to people with every day, but kind of bring it more mainstream and expose it to a lot of people who might not typically go to, say, as SilverDoctors or a Zero Hedge or listen to Ron Paul speak.
Right.
Okay, so really appreciate your time, Megan. And again, we encourage all the listeners to check out Silver Circle movie. It's silvercirclemovie.com.
That's right.
And I believe they just launched their official movie trailer this week, so check that out as well. So thanks a lot, Megan. Have a great one, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot, guys.
We had an arson last night. Glenwood Homes. 11 houses.
Halstead wants me to handle this.
I guess it's just another way Halstead makes sure no one actually ever lives in these houses.
I might know something about Glenwood Homes that might interest you.
Did she tell Nelson anything?
Don't know. Do you want me to get rid of her?
They take our money, our homes, our freedom. We have to do something.
Why is he here?
He can help us.
How does this help anything?
These silver coins are honest, so their value can't evaporate the way paper money does.
The Fed has got to remain strong and independent.
I think the rebels are setting this up to try to derail your lifetime appointment bill.
You must bring Zoe Taylor to us.
If you look into this, you'll see that we're the good guys.
Maybe. Maybe you're the enemy.
I am so glad you're not afraid of pain.